evening. My name is Gabriela Montero, and I am from Venezuela. I am a concert pianist, I'm a composer, I'm a human rights activist, but above all, I'm a human being. Music expresses what words cannot. And the most noble way that I can use my music is by being a journalist to the times and to the events that are happening in our world now. When I improvise, which means I create music in the moment, reacting to images or reacting to what surrounds me, to the life and to the feelings that are prevalent in my life and around me, I do so as an act of empathy. Improvisation for me is an act of empathy, and we need more of that in the world. Now I will improvise to a very short film of the Chinese dissident Liu Xiaobo, and I will carry on by improvising about my country, Venezuela. It will be an improvisation that will reflect what we feel as Venezuelans, what we feel that we have lost. Music can show everyone, can show you exactly how much we are suffering and what our story is as Venezuelans. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jakub Klepal. I'm the director of Forum 2000. Welcome to the official opening of the 21st conference, Strengthening Democracy in Uncertain Times. I would first like to thank our guest, Gabriela Montero, for this beautiful performance and for helping us to remember Liu Xiaobo. Liu Xiaobo remains an inspiration. And for us at Forum 2000, his legacy has a very special meaning. In the beginning of 2010, the foundation was closely involved in Liu's Nobel Peace Prize nomination by Václav Havel, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Desmond Tutu, and others. I would only like to remember several people who have played an important role in this nomination. Some of them are here in this room. They were Igor Blaževič, Alexander Vondra, Martin Butra, and of course, the late Forum 2000 director, Olda Cherny. Now I would like to announce a small change in the program. Originally, we were expecting a friend of Liu Xiaobo, Mr. Zhan Liang, to be here. However, due to some unexpected travel difficulties, he cannot be here with us. Therefore, I would like to invite to the podium someone who is also very important in the Chinese struggle for freedom. He has dedicated most of his life to the fight for democracy in China. He's an activist, journalist, but also an IT specialist and founder of China Digital Times. I would like to invite to the podium Mr. Xiao Yang.
Good evening. It's an honor to be in Prague. I arrived yesterday, the day before yesterday. I went to a Chinese restaurant in Black Light Theater. Sitting next to me was a table of Chinese tourists, very young. Myself had left China 28 years ago after Tiananmen Square. And I have never been able to return because my human rights work. I asked one of the tourists, a young girl, "Do you know who Liu Xiaobo is?" She looked at me and she said, "I have never heard of him." But I'm not concerned. No, he will be remembered. He will be remembered by this girl's children or her grandchildren, or even her grandchildren's grandchildren. By that time, maybe those Chinese young people wouldn't remember their own ancestors' name, but I assure you, they will remember Liu Xiaobo's. Liu Xiaobo will be remembered as a Chinese intellectual who negotiated with military commanders, avoiding further bloodshed on Tiananmen Square in the early morning hours of June 4th, 1989. He secured the safe passage of thousands of student protesters between tanks and encroaching soldiers. After that, he called himself a survivor and a witness of the doomsday of communism. And Liu Xiaobo will be remembered as one of the authors of Charter 08, a manifesto initially published on December 10, 2008, the 60th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, adopting a style and a name from, we all know, Charter 77 in this country. Since Charter 08's release, thousands of people inside and outside of China have signed the document advocating government reforms, including separation of powers, freedom of speech, fundamental human rights, and rural-urban equality. Liu Xiaobo's effort brought him a 11-year sentence for, quote, inciting subversion of state power, unquote. And now we all know Liu Xiaobo will be remembered as an empty chair, a simple blue upholstered seat in Oslo City Hall at the 2010 Nobel Peace Prize ceremony. The citation and the medal placed on that chair read, "The campaign to establish universal human rights also in China is being waged by many Chinese, both in China itself and abroad. Through the severe punishment meted out to him, Liu Xiaobo has become the foremost symbol of this wide-ranging struggle for human rights in China." And my friends, Liu Xiaobo also will be remembered as a poet by another poet, his wife, Liu Xia. In future generations, every man and woman seeking true love will remember his poem to her. "I am your lifelong prisoner, my love. I want to live in your dark insides, surviving on the dregs in your blood." And Liu Xiaobo will be remembered as a patient dying of late-stage liver cancer. His final medical condition, after he was denied permission to leave the country for treatment, was broadcast by the Chinese state. But the media and the internet of a country with 1.4 billion people remain silent. A friend of mine, a Chinese poet living in Taiwan, wrote, "Broadcast the death of a nation, broadcast the death of a country, hallelujah, only he is coming back to life." Yes, we're living in the age of technology. Now we're talking about big data, artificial intelligence. Maybe someday the nation state is even absolute idea. But I assure you, Liu's name will grace a national monument of a democratic China for transcending fear with love and advance of human dignity. Even, as I said, the nations become absolute concept, and those national monuments disappear from the earth. The name of Liu Xiaobo, together with those like Mahatma Gandhi, like Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, Václav Havel, will still be as bright as the brightest stars in the night sky, inspiring the ever-enduring enterprise of human freedom and dignity. My friends, this is the cause we are all in today. Meanwhile, the names of those who imprisoned him and hastened his death, together with the name of their brutal and brave authoritarian regime, will be the mere footnote under Liu Xiaobo's page in the history books. Thank you.
Tú traduces, ¿verdad?
¿Yo traduzco?
Dale.
Yo traduzco.
Bueno, buenas noches.
Good night.
Estamos aquí para interpretar una canción que yo no sé si sea un clásico.
We are here to play a song that we don't know if it's a classic or what.
Nosotros generalmente no componemos para ser clásicos.
We usually do not compose to be classic.
Pero yo creo que sí es una canción muy útil.
But I think that is a very useful song.
Porque el coro de la canción dice algo estrepitosamente genial y muy divertido, que es cagarse en Fidel Castro.
Because the beat of the song says a very special thing that could be like, say Fidel Castro, go and fuck yourself.
Y aunque Castro está muerto,
and also Castro is dead,
el castrismo sigue.
Castrismo continue. Castrismo.
El castrismo.
It continues.
Castrismo continúa. Sigue. Y entonces, bueno, es importante seguir cantándola y la vamos a interpretar.
So
la canción la hizo Ciro.
So it's important to keep singing this song.
Bien. El comandante quiere que yo trabaje pagándome un salario miserable. El comandante quiere que yo lo aplauda, pero es de hablar su mierda delirante. No, comandante, no coma usted esa pinga, comandante. No coma tanta pinga, comandante. No coma tanta pinga, comandante.
Si quiere que trabaje, ponga un paro por delante.
No coma tanta pinga, comandante. No coma tanta pinga, comandante.
No coma tanta pinga, comandante. Usted es un tirano y no hay pueblo que lo aguante.
No coma tanta pinga, comandante.
El comandante hace unas elecciones que las inventó él para perpetuarse. El comandante quiere que vaya y vote para él seguir jodiéndome bastante. No, comandante, no coma usted esa pinga, comandante. No coma tanta pinga, comandante. No coma tanta pinga, comandante. Usted y sus hermanos, esos viejos petulantes. No coma tanta pinga, comandante. No coma tanta pinga, comandante. No coma tanta pinga, comandante. Usted es un tirano y no hay pueblo que lo aguante. No coma tanta pinga, comandante. No coma tanta pinga, comandante. No coma tanta pinga, comandante. Usted y sus hermanos, esos viejos petulantes. No coma tanta pinga, comandante. No coma tanta pinga, comandante. No coma tanta pinga, comandante. Usted es un tirano y no hay pueblo que lo aguante. No coma tanta pinga, comandante. No, no, no coma tanta pinga. No, no, comandante. No, no, no coma tanta pinga. No, no, comandante. La tu better do better, tu better ba ba better ba ba better do better do better, tu better ba 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 ba. No, no, no coma tanta pinga. No, no, comandante.
no coma tanta piña.
No, no, ah, no, no coma tanta piña. No, no, comandante. No coma tanta piña.
Este sí que revive.
Le doy una canción al comandante y de la sombra sale Raúl.
No coma tanta piña. No, no, comandante. No coma tanta piña. No, comandante.
¡Bonito!
Horno para Ricardo. Gracias. Thank you, Xiao, for remembering Liu Xiaobo. We have tried to make the Forum 2000 conference smaller this year, but we have failed miserably. The variety of issues and the depth of the problems at hand created a very dense and rich conference and a very intense agenda. And we actually feel good about it. Many of you and of us will face hard choices over the next 2 days and will want to be at several different places at the same time. And that is difficult. But that is also freedom. We have to make choices, sometimes very difficult ones. And it is fantastic that we can make those choices freely. And in this period of multiple elections around Europe and elsewhere, when the choices we make are particularly important, I suggest that we all use Forum 2000 conference as a practicing ground. Nonetheless, I would like to give you some advice in this variety of options. I would like to draw your attention to several specific points. First of all, as has already become a tradition, the conference is accompanied by a rich associate program held in the framework of the Festival of Democracy. It consists of approximately 80 events, among them panel discussions, lectures, exhibitions or concerts. They take place mostly in Prague, but also in other cities around Czech Republic and in Berlin, Žilina, Warsaw and Budapest. During tomorrow, you may also visit some outdoor activities, including concerts and exhibitions of over 30 NGOs at the Václav Havel Square, which is right across the street from Žofín Palace. Secondly, as some of you know, we are constantly searching for ways how best to process the richness of discussions and the wealth of ideas that stem from the Forum 2000 conferences. For this purpose, we have, in cooperation with our partners at the Oxford University Press, set to prepare a book that will hopefully start a series of books inspired by the annual Forum 2000 conference. This process has been led by our dear friend, Professor Surendra Munshi, and supported by Mr. Sugata Ghosh of Oxford University Press. And it resulted in a great publication that has just come out of the press. It has been co-written by a group of distinguished authors, some of whom are sitting here, and it bears the title Democracy Under Threat, this book. It will be formally launched and discussed at a panel tomorrow afternoon, and it will be on sale at the conference venue, so please, you are welcome to attend the panel. And thirdly, as you know, there is a growing global concern about the future of democracy, and we are discussing this concern at the conference very extensively. Therefore, we are preparing to launch a major initiative, the Coalition for Democratic Renewal. This coalition, which currently includes over 180 leading world intellectuals and activists, will be formally launched at the conference plenary on Tuesday afternoon, and I invite you all to be part of it. One of the members and signatories of the coalition is Ivan Havel, brother of Václav Havel, former president of Czech Republic. Please let me invite Ivan Havel to say a few words.
Dear delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to have the opportunity to address you at the 21st Forum 2000. The main idea of the Forum 2000 series of conferences is bringing together every year a number of prominent politicians, democratic leaders, human rights activists, and other thinkers from various countries around the world, and letting them discuss the most important issues of the time. Looking back, I am amazed by the extensive number and variety of themes discussed at previous meetings. This year's topic is rather acute, as it is concerned with strengthening democracy in uncertain times, to quote the title of the conference. According to me, the terms strengthening and uncertain in the title may be too weak to reflect the current situation in the world. Liberal democracy is nowadays endangered from without by totalitarian regimes from the East, and from within by erosion of the basic pillars of democracy, like freedom of expression, fair, open, and competitive elections, rule of law, fundamental human rights, and others. We are facing unprecedented terrorism, xenophobia, corruption, and similar threats to democracy. Regarding human rights, I would like to remember in particular Mr. Liu Xiaobo, already several times mentioned, who recently passed away. He was a Chinese writer, poet, anti-communist, human rights activist, and Nobel Peace Prize laureate. Let me quote from the nomination for this prize, signed 8 years ago by my brother and others. Liu Xiaobo's courage and example may help to speed up the dawn of the day when China's participation in international affairs is aided by the expertise and oversight of civil society groups and independent media and an engaged citizens able to express its views through the ballot box. If deeply engaged personalities like him prevail, then we can hope for liberal democracy to regain its strength. Let me finish with a phrase in the style of one of my brother's well-known proclamations. Trust and truth will overcome suspicion and shame. I wish the Forum 2000 the greatest success. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Havel. Before I cede the floor to the final musical performance, I would like to thank our donors and supporters, without whom we would never be able to put this meeting together. They are the William and Flora Hewlett Foundation, National Endowment for Democracy, Jyllands-Posten Fund, the Avast Foundation, Open Society Foundation, Erste Foundation, International Visegrad Fund, Friedrich Naumann Foundation, Minister of Culture of the Czech Republic, Helena and Jürgen Hofmeister, Marek Lehečka, Jan Barta, and many others. We are truly grateful. I would also like to thank the Forum 2000 Board of Directors, led by Tomáš Vrba, the Conference Program Committee, our amazing team, and dozens of volunteers who have worked tirelessly to prepare this event. I wish you all a nice and productive conference, and please enjoy the final musical performance.
Before I said that music could express what words cannot, but I think they've proven me wrong. I think strong words are very useful sometimes. Now we're going to do an improvisation together. They're from Cuba, I'm from Venezuela. Kind of sketchy relationships right now. But we are going to join our worlds, the very different worlds, and improvise for you something that is completely made on the spot.